You know, it becomes a generational thing that over so many years, over a generation period, you have a leadership that comes to the stage, a transformational leadership comes and changes things for the better. Our president veered into education, conquered education, stabilized our urban educational system, and today the world recognizes him for that. We talk about educational system today. Sierra Leone is highlighted. I have an aspirational feeling that in the next couple of weeks, months, we'll be talking about agriculture in Sierra Leone. With a minister like Mr. Bangura, we're going to get there. The support for agriculture is palpable. Thank you very much. We will celebrate as a country the transformational leader we have. And he will talk to us today about his initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a one-time opportunity and pleasure to invite His Excellency the President.
Everybody is excited because we are talking about food. I hope we had some before we came here. And we are going to get more after here. Amen. And 5 years later, we will be food secure. I bought into this vision because this is not the panacea or the silver bullet, I would call it, but we have a problem of unemployment. We have the youth bulge. We are not food secure, and that has been exacerbated by what is happening in Ukraine. We need to grow our economy. After having started with education in 2018, now I think that we can have agriculture to deal with the rest of the other problems. Unemployment, food insecurity, and also economic growth. That is why the budget is the Honorable Vice President, ministers, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, the United Nations Resident Coordinator, heads of missions and delegations, my chairman, Presidential Initiative, Climate Change, Renewable Energy, and Food Security. We've been talking quite a lot and moving all over the place. Our farmers and other key stakeholders in the agriculture sector, civil society, NGOs, private sector representatives, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I hope it is still morning. Sierra Leone truly needs to feed itself and also develop with pride and dignity. We cannot be begging for our basic food with the land that we have, with the rainfall that we have. It is not dignified Sierra Leone. I have always said that we have no business importing rice into Sierra Leone. There is no reason for our nation to be a net food importer when our country is richly blessed with abundant land, water resources, ample sunshine, and accessible labor force. We have been too lazy. We must change this narrative. For a very long time, we say agriculture has been the mainstay of our economy, accounting for an average of 51% of GDP, especially over the last decade, and it employs approximately 65% of the labor force, but mainly in subsistence farming. We have to change all of this. While we possess high agricultural potential, we do not feed on potential. Agriculture yields and labor productivity have been very, very low, partially due to huge infrastructural bottlenecks and financing gaps. And already alluded to the gaps in infrastructure and financing. And this is where we want our partners to come on board. We are ready to work, as we have done for education, where we launched in August, on August 20th, 2018. Now we have over 1 million kids in school, new. And now this year we have produced over 137,000 kids that have passed clearly to go to university. We have done great things in education, and we can do great things to feed ourselves, employ ourselves, and stimulate economic growth. And provide jobs for our kids. The youth board should not be a force. It should be a blessing. But it can only be a blessing if we invest in our youth. Now, we have invested in basic education, and today we have 137 kids who are ready to go into university. I don't even have that space in all my universities and higher institutions of education. That is how determined we were, and that is how limited we have been in terms of resources to make provisions for them. But I've challenged my Minister of Technical and Higher Education to work with the universities and other institutions to provide space for them. We have to be educated, to be a meaningful part of the 21st century, and to even undertake the fifth salon that we are talking about. Interruptions in the international system, especially the food chain due to COVID-19 pandemic and the prevailing war in Ukraine, as we all know, coupled with other global crises, especially the inflation that is imported, definitely continue to take a toll on our economy. Our people are suffering the pinch. There is no way out of this. We have to find a way to deal with that. This has led to increasing costs for food in Sierra Leone, as you all know. And that affects the living condition of our people. If food is unaffordable for the least of our people, then this is a serious problem. My reaction to this is feed salons. As dark as these challenges are, we must see them as opportunities too. And that is why my reaction has been that I cannot have such rainfall and land, available arable land, and complain about food prices. Sierra Leone, we must produce our own food. The persistent economic headwinds and collapse of the community crisis facing low-income countries like ours is a challenge, but also an opportunity to diversify. So we are diversifying now. Since the advent of gold and diamond, we left the agricultural fields and went into the holes. We've been mining for the past close to 100 years, and some people are still to account for destroying our environment, because there's nothing to show for all that we say we claim to have. For me, there is no better sector to diversify than agriculture. Accelerating investment in agriculture, we add greater value to the economy, expand foreign exchange earning, significantly reduce imports, drive down inflation, so higher productivity and food production, and create decent jobs, especially for our youth, which I have alluded to already. Ladies and gentlemen, Sierra Leone must learn from the Asian countries, which rapidly expanded public investment in the agricultural sector to achieve the Green Revolution. We must invest in agriculture. We must invest in agriculture. We are doing our bit as a government in terms of the policy environment, the incentives to prime investment, to invite the private sector. We must fundamentally change the way we look at agriculture. For a very long time, agriculture has been treated as a development activity. The social sector has been treated as a sector for managing poverty. Yes, whenever there is a picture of a farmer, it's a poor, old-looking, miserable man or woman. I want to be the picture. I think I can feed this population in here with the fish that I have cultivated for the past. For 1 month, I can feed all of you with fish. I have enough rice to take care of all of you here for 1 year. And I want to be an example. No more should we display pictures of miserable-looking men and women as symbols of agriculture. I want to particularly from my Minister of Youth Affairs. He has a great fish farming project in this country, worthy of emulation. Worthy of emulation. If we can just replicate that in all the districts, I tell you, we have enough fish, and we will not need the Ministry of Marine Resources. They have to go at the sea. When I'm ready for my fish, I go into my pond, get the type. If I want tilapia today, I eat tilapia. I'm not going to eat snapper when I want to eat tilapia. And I have catfish and other things. So I have a choice. It's not frozen. I have to freeze it if I want to, but I can have raw fish. And that is what we want to do. We will encourage the Ministry of Marine Resources for economic purposes. But we are not going to kill that sector. But I just want to encourage us all to do something better. I want us to look at agriculture as a wealth creating sector. And until and unless all of us seated here can make agriculture profitable to the ordinary man or woman, it's not going to work. We all are looking for benefits. If I cannot make profit out of anything, I'm not going to continue to do it. So, our responsibility, our development partners, we cannot do this alone. Help us make agriculture profitable for the ordinary man or woman. Over 60% of our population is involved in agriculture. They are not in the city here, and they are the ones we are in business for. A government exists for those people. Once we make agriculture profitable for them, we would have taken care of broad-based economic development. We can stimulate growth. But they will never continue to do the traditional agriculture they're doing, the old methods, technologies, and using the same old inputs the seeds they're using. So our business is to make sure we provide all of that for them, at least for the beginning. Once they start making money, they will be running after us for more seeds and more things so that they can do more. Over 70% of our population live in the rural areas and depend on agriculture for their living. Their pathway out of poverty, as I've said, is through agriculture. And therefore, making agriculture a wealth-creating sector, we unleash the economic opportunities to lift our people out of poverty. Poverty alleviation has been on our lips for the past 20, 30, 40 years. The true pathway to that is actually through agriculture. So in line with my government's human capital development drive for sustainable economic growth, we are prioritizing investment in agriculture through SALONE program, which will receive up to 10% according to the finance minister. Of our national budget allocation over the next 5 years. I believe that SALONE will ignite the agricultural productivity, safeguard food security, foster inclusive economic growth, and therefore lay the foundation for sustainable prosperity. I truly believe in this. I visited Vietnam 2 years ago, and they have used agriculture as the mainstay, and it has stimulated serious economic growth. Ladies and gentlemen, we have diamond, we have gold, we have every other thing, but I want us to go back to basics. The land. If we truly love the land that we love, we must steal this land to get out of poverty. We must steal the land and not just dig and destroy it, degrade it for diamonds and gold. And let's steal it to feed ourselves, to employ ourselves, and stimulate economic growth. In my first term, we prioritize innovative strategies to improve agriculture and food security. We prioritize increasing productivity in the rice value chain and expanding our investment in mechanization, as the minister said earlier. We enacted sound public policy to stimulate sound private sector investment. The government primarily at that time focused on de-risking investment, the investment space, while supporting enabling environment for private sector players to participate. The private sector has not seen this space or has not regarded this space as a lucrative space. We are luring them to come into this space. We have to do the necessary policy arrangements, create the incentives and everything, because government is not going to do the farming for everybody. While we create the space for big investors to come in, we also care for small farmers who must be provided with the wherewithal so that they can continue to produce. They have been a great part of the sector, feeding us, and we need to increase their capacity. To this end, my government created the 10 million agriculture facility that was to stimulate private sector participation in importing and distributing fertilizer, seed production, and other agrochemicals. We established mechanization centers with more arable land under cultivation. While principally done on a pilot basis, these policy sheets produce positive outcomes. We increased meat rice production significantly and improved our self-sufficiency from 47% in 2019 to 65% in 2022. We must now turn our rural areas from areas of economic misery to economic prosperity zones. We must not shy away from the rural areas. Those of us who have made Freetown a permanent seat. Only 15% of 5.4 million hectares of land is under cultivation. We are cramped up in the city and our land is fallow. Yet we cry, we don't have food. It is too expensive. As I speak, it's been raining for the past 6 months and it still rains from time to time. We have no reason to grumble about prices. We should produce our own food. We should feed and develop. This requires transformation of the agriculture sector. At the core of this must be rapid agricultural industrialization. We must focus not only on primary production, but on developing agricultural value chains. The SALONE program, which encapsulates our vision for sustainable agricultural transformation, we build on these gains and scale up investment to foster food security and sovereignty. As I celebrate Independence Day on the 27th every year, I want to celebrate food sovereignty. That is better for us. Let this generation of leaders and Sierra and our development partners make it possible for us to also celebrate Food Sovereignty Day, when we know we can produce enough and to export, to employ, and to create economic activity. The SALONE Initiative has 5 specific goals. 1, to reduce importation of our key staple foods, including rice, onion, and poultry products. 2, to boost export earning from our cash crops like cocoa, coffee, cashew nuts, and other things. 3, to create jobs and rejuvenate the rural areas, using agriculture as a driver of new growth, jobs, and wealth creation. The 4th is to reduce hunger and malnutrition. A hungry man is an angry man. Even the women, when they are hungry, they are angry. 5th, being resilient to economic shocks. Women are even more angry when they are hungry. Ultimately, my government, we aim to build a resilient economy from the ground up with agriculture at the core of this whole process. Our vision is to take advantage of our soil wealth, grow agriculture as a business, as I've said, in a climate-friendly way, and leverage it as a fundamental source of national prosperity. This will inspire citizens, especially the youth, to see agriculture as a profitable and sustainable business. The Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security will lead the formulation and implementation of the SALONE Transformation Agenda, with the overarching objective to improve agricultural productivity, food security, and sovereignty in Sierra Leone. The newly created Presidential Initiative on Climate Change, Renewable Energy and Food Security, headed by my brother, Dr. Kande Yonkela, we support the ministries in these three work streams for coherence of policy and effective implementation coordination. I will also establish a Presidential Council on Agriculture that I will chair. The Presidential Council that I will chair will constitute ministries, departments, and agencies, private sector, farmers, academia, research institutions, civil society, and also our farmers to oversee the successful implementation of the Feed Salon program. Ladies and gentlemen, I think you should permit me now to convey some of my aspirations for the Feed Salon program for your consideration during the roundtable discussion that will be taking place when I leave. First, the Feed Salon program should not be about producing, not just be about producing more food. We must also ensure good nutrition. This is because our people still suffer from high levels of malnutrition and stunting, and many children die every year for malnutrition, which is a silent killer. Nothing breaks my heart more than a mother unable to harm her hungry babies to rumbling, hollow stomach. Poor nutrition is responsible for stunting children's growth, harming children's educational development, and limiting future economic prospects. Stunting children today lead to stunted economies tomorrow. Therefore, the most important infrastructure we must build is grey matter infrastructure. Grey matter infrastructure, which powers the brain and all human capabilities. That was why we started with education. But even when you teach, a hungry child never captures what you say. Even the teacher, when hungry, is angry. All the time, one cannot teach very well. A hungry teacher is a bad teacher. We must focus on curbing malnutrition as we scale up our school feeding program under the Human Capital Development Programs. Second, experiences from successful agricultural transformations in other countries show that they were achieved through strong partnerships between government and the private sector, which I've spoken about. Therefore, we must commit to strengthening the legal and regulatory framework to create an enabling environment to promote private sector involvement throughout the agricultural value chain. The government will rely on private sector to drive innovation, growth, and large-scale sustainable impact. The reality is, government resources put together with development partners won't be enough to address the challenges we face in the agriculture sector. Resources from the private sector will be required to achieve our goals. But as we all know, the private sector, they are profit-driven. So our business with our development partners, as I've said earlier, is to create that enabling environment, the necessary public expenditure that needs to go into it to make it profitable for them. We would have extended a hand of invitation to the private sector. In fact, I will tell you they will be streaming to the point that we have to control them if we really create the enabling environment. Once they see the opportunities, the bank will start to relocate in Tomabom and Mambolo. Everybody will be moving there. So we have to create this. There's also A key need for strong public-private partnership to get younger entrepreneurs into the agricultural sector. Young people face serious problems in terms of access to affordable capital to venture into agriculture. And it is our duty to make sure that we open the doors for them and give them the opportunity. If we give them the opportunity, as the minister said earlier, we provided 10 million, although not all of that was used. But all the people, normally people who are engaged in agriculture are honest people. That is my position. They don't believe in the shortcuts to make wealth. When you see them going to the bush, they're tilling and doing that, it's because they believe that they have to earn what they use. And therefore, even the young people who are around or who are involved, quite a lot of them are involved in agriculture. And I've met quite a lot of women, you know, in during my campaign that are involved in agriculture. All they need is support, guidance. And this is what we have to do. I saw the biggest onion I've ever seen in Falaba. Yes. I've seen so many things, agricultural products, but they are limited in terms of the capital. The third thing is Feed SALONE Initiative must address specific challenges facing women farmers. That's the voice I like to hear. Because they form the majority of labor force in agriculture but lack access to land rights. When we get the issue of women's rights in agriculture, we finally get agriculture Israeli right. We have to get it right for women if we have to be able to succeed in agriculture. The fourth thing is we must leverage available and new technologies to scale up and transform key value chains in the agricultural sector. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are available technologies that can help transform our landscape. We have to go for those. We must seek to foster public-private partnerships, linking government, national, regional, international agricultural research centers, the private sector, and farmers. That link must be created. And lastly, to succeed, we must support the farmers to adapt to climate change. We are at the receiving end of climate change. We contribute less than 30% of global greenhouse gases emissions, but we suffer disproportionately. But the world is a village, so we have to find a way to adapt, to mitigate, and we must get our own agriculture, instill or build in resilience into our agricultural revolution that we are about to embark on. We must reorientate our policy reforms to target climate resilient agricultural development and value chains and invest heavily in climate smart agriculture mechanization and technologies to unlock the full potential for agriculture. Interestingly, agriculture is another culprit for climate change. So the earlier we recognize that and make sure our agricultural activities are climate smart, the better they are for our global commitments, but also for what we have said we can do. The key outcome of this roundtable is to provide stakeholders with a thorough comprehension of the Feed SALONE Initiative, highlighting its objectives, strategic pillars, enablers, and underlying institutional framework. A shared understanding ensures cohesive efforts and alignment across all the entities parties involved. There has to be an alignment, not only within government, but also with our development partners that are very crucial to what we are about to embark on. As we deliberate under the theme Partnerships for the Delivery of Feed Salone Agenda, I leave you with a quote from late Kofi Annan, and I quote, "No single individual, group, or government can take the monumental challenge alone. We must," he continues, "have the vision to work together." This is what I'm seeking today. This is the vision I've put out. Noble as it is, good as it is for the people of this country and for the world itself, we cannot do it alone. And I appeal that the government, private sector, farmers, development partners, CSOs, NGOs, academia, research institutions, and donor agencies to come on board and work in alignment with what we want to do. Effective collaboration and partnership are the spirit behind the government's Feed Salone Initiative. Our objective is to work with others to ensure that we end extreme poverty, eliminate malnutrition, make Sierra Leone food self-sufficient, and move our nation on top of the agricultural value chain for what it produces. We must improve agricultural productivity for food security and sovereignty as quickly as possible. Time is not on our side. Let's seize this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to feed our people and achieve middle income status by 2035. I wish you fruitful deliberations. Thank you.